Of course, I was talking with you the last year. I was talking with you about the mycotoxin of the fungi, and I think the last thing I mentioned to you is about the mycotoxin and esophageal cancer. Already, I talked about that one. You remember that? Okay. Yeah, mentioned that. Then we're going to move to another one here, the mycotoxin. Okay. I said general here. Let me make sure this is okay. Talk about the mycotoxin. Now we're going to talk about another example of mycotoxin known as trichothiocin and hemorrhagic syndrome. Okay. Do you see this properly, please? Let me know. Called trichothiocin, okay, and hemorrhagic. This is another one, and hemorrhagic. Syndrome. Okay. This is the same thing also. It affected some people some time ago. Of course, all with this we noticed when it happened in incident, and to mention it happened some time ago, but at least it gave us. Now, this is happened basically during the year of 1942 to 1947. During the years of 1942 to 1947, okay, which is what happened here, a serious and widespread hemorrhage, a serious okay, and wide, okay, spread hemorrhagic okay syndrome. And this syndrome basically called okay, this syndrome called, going to mention to you, elementary toxic aleukia. Put down here, elementary toxic aleukia. This is K here, aleukia. Okay, and sometimes we refer to it as ATA. Okay, basically affected some people in Siberia. Affected, okay, people in Siberia. In some areas, about 10% of the population, and in some areas, 10% of the population. Of the population, okay, develop the disease, and in most cases, really, in most cases, was basically quite fatal. And to mention of the population, and most cases, let's see, out here now. Yes, and most cases, okay, was fatal. This is about the incidence. We're going to talk about basically what are the characteristics of these symptoms. Now, we call it the ATA. ATA was characterized, okay, by nausea, okay, vomiting, by nausea, vomiting, hemorrhages in many organs, hemorrhages in many organs, and also bleeding from nose and throat, from the nose and throat, okay, and also having what you call a bloody diarrhea, okay, okay, and also resulted also with low, basically, leukocyte count, which is the white blood cells, leukocyte, we call it count, leukocyte count, okay, and also what happened here, exhaustion of bone marrow. Exhaustion of bone marrow, and known as throat sepsis and necrosis. And necrosis, sorry, necrosis. And basically what happened here is seems the swelling of the throat, and basically that resulted most of the death. And to mention, about a third of the death, about third, okay, of the deaths, all right, were due to strangulation, resulting basically from internal swelling of the throat, resulting from internal swelling of the throat. Okay. This is a symptom of what the X-ray would happen, but in the end, of course, they find the reason for that basically what we call as a result of two fungus. Okay. The two fungus which are mainly responsible for this, making the two here. Okay, to be mainly responsible. Okay, the two are responsible. Where basically one also the same thing we mentioned, I think the name before, but basically both of them they belong to this what we call Fusarium, okay? Where Fusarium, one, the fungus was Fusarium, okay, Kawai, which is seems occurring on the grasses or wheat, and the other one, Fusarium sportotrichodius, and the other one is Fusarium, okay, put it down here, okay, sporotrichodius. And both of these, of course, they belong to fungi imperfecti and belong to this group, as already mentioned, to the hyphomycetes. The hyphomycetes, and of course, and the toxin, that is the fungi, but as we mentioned about the toxin they produce, and the toxins they produce which is simply known as, basically belong, okay, to the group of chemical compound known as tetracyclic terpenoids. It's kind of terpenoid known as group known as tetracyclic terpenoid. Okay, and this is basically the tetracyclic, so that is which is known as the trichothecenes. Okay, that's mentioned to you here, which is basically which are called trichothecene. Which is basically very extremely poisonous, which is extremely poisonous. And these groups which are extremely poisonous. Okay, so basically this is another example. It seems to occur in some of their food or so on. And this happened here, and that basically it gives us what you call. Now, there is another kind also of this kind similar of these compound, which is produced by what you call other kind of fungus, and the title is going to be here. Okay, you just also known as, is another example going to give you about the mycotoxin, known as trichothecene and Stachybotryoicosis, which is produced by Stachybotrys. Okay, to mention you, trichothecene and Stachy or Stachybotryo okay, toxicosis. For that, called Stachybotryo toxicosis. Okay. Which is basically as a result of the what you call, because of this fungus known as Stachybotrys, we are going to mention that. This is an incident also happened basically in almost 1930s, occur in the horses in Ukraine, and you find the horses are dying, and in the end they find basically the cause of that because of the that fungus was present in the hay in which some of they eat, or they using also for bedding and to mention too. Now, during the 1930s, during the 1930s, horses in Ukraine began to die in large number. Began to die in large numbers. And they suffered, to give some of the, basically some of the symptoms they show, and really sometimes the death was very, very quick, as a matter of fact. They suffered mouth ulceration, they suffered mouth ulceration, and swelling, fever, severe inflammation of the skin and respiratory tract, severe inflammation, severe inflammation of the skin and respiratory tract, and also the same thing, the low number of leukocytes and depletion of leukocytes and depletion of leukocytes and blood platelets and basically this has resulted in reality what you call complete failure of the blood clotting, and basically mentioned leading to complete failure what you call of the blood clotting mechanism. And basically because of that, in reality, the death sometime was even within the day they will die. They cannot continue. So, continue a second here, please. All right. Clotting mechanism and death occur in less than a day. And to mention this point here, death occurs in less than a day. Let's give me a second to put this one here so you see it, I guess. All right, then. Now, of course, to mention, of course, where they find, of course, basically in the, what you call, in the fodder contaminant. Now this disease was found this disease was found, as a matter of fact, here to mention, connected what you call to fodder, contaminated Also, the same thing with this kind of trichothiocene, which is kind of terpenoid, with, as I mentioned to you, with microcyclic trichothiocene, with macrocyclic trichothiocene, okay, which is basically produced, this toxic of this chemical compound produced, okay, by this fungus species, which is known now Stachybotrys cheratra, known as Stachybotrys. You see this one, known as Stachybotrys cheratra. This fungus, okay. And basically what happened here, because this fungi basically, if there is a humidity, it is a cellulose decomposer. So it was basically on the hay in which these horses either they use it as a bed or also using as a food. And to make sure that's where found. Okay. So also basically this is to give a characteristic of this fungus, which is known as common. This fungus is common. Cellulose decomposing, cellulose decomposing, and also belong to the fungi imperfecti, to this group of the hyphomycetes. Okay, cellulose decomposing, we call it cellulose decomposing hyphomycete. Okay, simply of course growing. Okay, on hay, on these horses, which is basically used as food, okay, and bedding. So basically, this is another example of some toxin produced by the fungus here, which is known as, we call it trichothiocene and Toxicosis. Okay. The other example I'm going to give you basically also there's a kind of fungus which is found basically was affecting the sheep in New Zealand. Okay, during especially during the wet summer, and we talk about that. So this one known as sporadismen, sporadismen, and facial eczema of sheep. Okay. Did you finish off this one? Yes or no? Tell me please. Yes. Okay, so this is where I've taken because I can put this up a little bit here. Okay, thank you. Just two patients. All right. Now, to talk about this, as I mentioned, for many years, the New Zealand sheep have been like, okay, to mention, for many years, okay, for many years, that we call New Zealand sheep, okay, have basically been Click. Okay. By outbreak. Okay. By outbreaks of conditions of conditions basically known as facial eczema, by conditions known as facial eczema. And now what happened here, to talk about some of their symptoms they show, for example, they stop eating, the sheep I mean, they stop eating, okay, and also develop diarrhea, okay, and also what happened here, they become what they call inflamed swelling of the lips, okay, and and then to mention inflamed swelling, okay, and inflamed swelling on their lips, face, and also their eyelids and eyelids, okay, and vulva, okay, and what you call they become what's known as photophobic. They try to avoid the light, okay, to mention this point, okay, and they become, okay, known as photophobic, basically simply mention trying, this is R here, trying to avoid a bright light. They try to avoid the bright. No, this is basically from outside. Now we're going to go internally. What seems, what also what other symptom they have. Internally, there is a hypertrophy. Internally, there is a hypertrophy of the bile, duct, of the bile ducts, and also an extensive liver necrosis, and extensive liver necrosis. Okay, liver necrosis. Okay, and it seems sometimes the affected animal they will die, and affected animals sometimes die, and affected animals sometimes die. Okay, and also they realize that disease, as a matter of fact, usually occur what you call in the late summer and after what you call rain, and also the weather was warm. And to mention this point here, and the disease usually occur disease usually occurs, as I mentioned, in late summer. Okay, in late summer, after a warm rains. Okay. Now, of course, these are basically the symptom, and we find in what you call the occasion which occur. But later, of course, they find basically the reason for that. There is a toxin produced by fungus, which occurs sometime in these of the plant they eat after that. To mention this point here, and then we talk what is what's real effect inside their body. Now, to mention the cause of the disease. The cause of the disease was found, okay, to be okay, a toxin, which is basically called the one I already mentioned in the beginning, spirodismin or sporio dismin, and basically produced this kind of toxin produced by this fungus, by also a kind of saprophytic hyphomycete, also hyphomycete, also fungi imperfecti, produced by saprobic hyphomycetes and the species known as Pithomyces charatrans. Pithomyces, this is the name of fungus, also known as charatran. Okay, that is the name of fungus. And basically, they found basically that fungus was growing in some of these dead plant or grasses in which these animals eat. Okay, growing on dead parts. On dead parts, okay, of forage grass. Okay, now now I'm going to mention about really after they find the fungus, of course, and they know what are the active compound which cause that symptom. Then, of course, they know exactly what it's doing inside the body. It seems basically, as a matter of fact, is affecting their liver, and we're going to mention about what is the impact of that. To mention this point. Now, the disease mainly causes liver damage. Cause mainly liver damage, okay, rather than a skin problem. Rather than the skin problem. Okay, to make this point. And also, as I mentioned, it is also life-threatening. Okay, it's also life-threatening. Sorry. It's life-threatening here, to mention this point here. Okay. Now, and also we talk about what was the real cause of that. Basically, as I mentioned, they become what you call sensitive to the light. and it seemed the reason for that basically also caused by it. Now, the photosensitivity, the photosensitivity, this is the photosensitivity causing, and this photosensitivity causing what is known as the facial eczema. Eczema. It was in reality, it was a secondary symptom because of the following. It is a secondary symptom symptom caused by this compound known as phytoerythrin. I'm going to explain also why. What is this called now? Now, this is the phytoerythrin. As a matter of fact, what happened here? This is what you call. This is a product. Okay, this is a product of chlorophyll digestion. Okay, because what happened here, this is basically, because as you mentioned, because the liver is being damaged. So as a matter of fact, what happened here, this compound start building up in the system. Okay, because the liver is no more able, what you call, to get rid of it. So to mention this point here. Okay, this product, chlorophyll digestion, okay, that's built up, that builds up, okay, in the peripheral, circulation is built up, okay. Why? Because the damaged liver cannot secrete. Okay, because the damaged liver cannot, okay, excrete it or to decompose. Okay. Now, basically, there are two other compounds I'm going to mention. They are not all the time there, but at least to mention it here. Okay. One is known as alternaria and tenozonic acid. Alternaria is a kind of species. Also, they are belong to fungi imperfecti, and sometimes they are this. Yeah, alternaria usually is very well, like this one here, that occurs alternaria. I'm going to mention it. They are very well recognized by their kind of septate conidia. They occur like this. And this kind, sometimes they are quite occur also in the house dust. They occur in the house dust, and sometimes they can cause what you call allergy. They are some of the people. But what you're talking about here, this will be some of them, it could occur in the tomato paste. Tomato paste, a little bit off here. Okay, so good alternaria. Yeah, alternaria and tenozonic acid and called tenozonic sonic acid. Now, usually also I mention that alternaria is one of the commonest mold on various crops. Alternaria, that species I showed to you, alternaria, okay, is one. Okay, are you able to see all that? Okay. Did you finish from this one here, please?
Can you just leave it a second? I just...
Okay, because it just was, okay, so, all right, that's what I want to know. Thank you. Okay, so continue like this, is okay? Now, alternaria, okay, is one of the commonest okay, it's one of the commonest molds, okay, on various crops. Okay, on various crops, and also such as apples, and tomatoes. Okay, and also in a lot of decaying food, and also deteriorating food, and okay, on deteriorating food. Okay, and now they notice also these basically it could produce sometimes of mycotoxin inflammation, and it is now known to produce, okay, to produce several. So now, did you finish on this one here?
yes, thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay. And now, of course, because I have to push this up a little bit here, okay, and now is known to produce what is called several mycotoxins. Several mycotoxins, of which the poisonous is known as tenozonic acid, of which, okay, the most poisonous okay, which is known as, is the one I mentioned in the beginning, known as tenozonic acid. Okay, it has been detected basically sometime occur in a very low concentration in some of the tomato paste. Okay, and just for this some. So this has been detected. This has been detected in commercial okay tomato pastes, tomato paste at a level okay of 0.1 to 1 part per million to 1 part per million. And of course, similar and warrant further attention. So basically, I just mentioned a few of these mycotoxins. There are quite a few. I'm not going to mention it. But now I'm going to talk about what are the process, which is because usually these mycotoxin, you cannot get it by boiling or sterilization. So it have to have different type of to get. So basically, we're going to talk about this a little bit here, okay, about the method or what you could known as of detoxification. Okay, so now we're going to start about this process, detoxification. Okay. But of course, one of the most one has been used really, which is affecting human, is the aflatoxin, which is the one we talk about, was occurring basically in the what you call on the peanuts and so on. That's the first one I mentioned, which occur by the Aspergillus flavus, and that's basically quite of research has been done on that one. But eventually, as I mentioned here, basically that aflatoxins, okay, has been okay the subject of most what you call detoxification research, of most detoxification research. Yeah, research. Okay, and this toxin basically is quite heat stable. And to mention, although the toxin, this toxin is relatively heat stable, to mention, although this toxin, okay, is relatively heat stable, okay, and also, and assume basically, even if they heat it at 100 degree Celsius for 2 hours, they can lose about 80%, but not all the toxin. To mention this point, is heat stable, okay, and estimation and heating, okay, heating contaminated substrate. Substrate for what you call to 100 degrees Celsius, to 100 degrees Celsius for 2 hours, for 2 hours can degrade 80% of the aflatoxin present. Okay, and some people they even if the of the nuts, if the nuts basically contaminated with it, and even roasting it, it will have the same effect to mention to you here. Also, dry roasting nuts has similar effect, and to mention that dry roasting nuts, okay, has a similar effect. In other words, basically that heating will not eliminate the toxin, simple as it. Okay, to mention this point here, but heat treatment won't eliminate the aflatoxin. Okay, but as I mentioned, heat treatment okay would not eliminate eliminate aflatoxins. And usually the aflatoxin or fungi basically usually have done more or less by chemical treatment. That's basically to mention this chemical treatment. Now, chemical treatments, okay, can give more complete detoxification. Chemical treatments can give, okay, more complete, what you call detoxification. Okay. For example, to mention that aflatoxins, okay, are degraded. Basically, are degraded, of course, by aqueous solution, by aqueous solutions of strong acid and bases. Of strong acid and bases, okay? And that's why we say, if I, for example, now, most of the, what you call the oil used for cooking or the crude oil are treated with, in one way or another, with sodium hydroxide and so on, and to mention. So crude edible oils, so crude edible oils are now treated okay, basically with NaOH, which is, as you know, a solution, okay, to remove aflatoxin. Okay. Now the other thing I want to talk about, this is one of the treatment here, and also we have a treatment, ammonia treatment, but sometimes this is, of course, one have to make sure because sometimes it may lose the food value itself. But at least to mention, ammonia, okay, treatment will almost, okay, eliminate aflatoxin. Okay, will almost eliminate aflatoxins, okay, from peanut meal, okay, and the grains. But as I may, but on the other hand, of course, it will reduce its food value, okay, but may reduce their food value. Okay. Also, it could be used, also other thing which could use or eliminate what you call the aflatoxin or the cumin is basically what you call the oxidizing agents. The other point I'm going to mention to you here, oxidizing agents. Okay. Will also destroy aflatoxin. Like this one here, for example, like sodium hypochlorite, Cl, okay, and hydrogen peroxide. Okay, hold some promise. Hold some promise. Okay. Now you find the wrong, but usually for the bisulfate, now it's basically being accepted and being used quite a bit. Bisulfite or sulfate, bisulfite, okay, already accepted, this compound already, okay, accepted as antimicrobial additive, as antimicrobial additive, okay, in the fruit juices and dry fruit. In the fruit juices and the dry fruits. Okay, and dry fruits, okay, which is basically they degrade afla toxins, okay, and of course, and may, okay, become, and may become, as a matter of fact, widely used okay, widely used for this purpose. For this purpose. But of course, the main thing of all that, provide, of course, it does not damage, as a matter of fact, other food constituents. I mean, doesn't damage the food itself or food value. Okay. For at the moment, now, if if current research, if current uh, uh, research, as a matter of fact, okay, shows, okay, that it does not okay, that it does not, okay, damage other food constituents, does not damage other, okay, food are here constituents. Okay. All right. So let's move to this point here. Now, of course, the only point I'm not going to write it down, but you can put it down simply. Of course, it seems, of course, the fungi basically, when they produce these mycotoxins, is only a way, of course, one of the things, because basically, because you know, fungi, as a matter of fact, they grow on material, and when they produce this, they could use basically as a defense against other organisms or for competition and so on. So basically, that's from the fungus point of view. Okay, once this has been done, then I'm going to, okay, just to mention this point here, all right. Okay. The other point I'm going to touch a little bit here, a few points left, of course, because also we have one lecture left on Tuesday. And what's left from here on Tuesday, basically, a few points I want to mention about fungi. I want to talk a little bit about here about fungal allergies. And hopefully, if I got something to talk about a little bit about the use of fungi, basically, in two things, and basically in biological control, instead of using what you call pesticide, and also now these days there is quite research going in using the fungi basically in bioremediation. So I want to touch on these 2 points to see how our time will allow us to do. So now I'm going to talk about fungal allergies. Because you know the fungal spores all over the place, you know, they are all there, but not necessarily everyone is what you call, unless in area they are in huge number or concentration. So, okay, allergies. Talk about this. Okay, just to tell you are using this one now. In general, of course, we have a lot of allergies like hay fever and other which could occur by pollen or other plant. Going to touch on that a little bit. Allergies are provoked by airborne particles. Okay, as a general here, okay, allergies. Okay, provoked. Okay, provoked by airborne, okay, particles, by airborne particles were originally, as already all of us we know this, or you know, were originally, okay, the pollen grain of plant. Of plants. And also, as you know, this plant called the ragweed. The ragweed also can cause a lot of allergy and ragweeds. And I think I have a picture to show it to you. Just give me a second here. And ragweed, which is basically belong to this genus, the Latin name called ambrosia. To this genus ambrosia, and basically from the Asteraceae or the sunflower family belong. Asteraceae or the sunflower family. Yeah, this is the plant of what you call ambrosia, or this is the one how it look like. Just to let you accept. Sometimes I can see it in the wild, you know, but not very common. I can see it wild. I saw it about last year somewhere. Yeah, I saw it there. So there. Oh, sorry. This is the plant here. Okay, that's basically the plant. So it looks like. Okay, sometimes the feet look like this one here. Okay, the ambrosia. Just to for their information. Did you finish from this one here, please? Well,
Yes.
okay, thank you. All right. Now, as I mentioned, as belong to this asterisks. Okay. Now, as already know, this basically the pollen allergy, what is known as okay, this is sometimes. Okay. Now, To continue after that, ambrosia, of course, as you know, causing what is widely known, causing, okay, what is widely known, okay, as, or you know, as hay fever. Okay, it was known as hay fever, okay. But of course, what happened here that most of the people forget, of course, sometimes that the pollen or the hay fever, usually it is spring, summer. Okay, it's not there in the winter, and that's why some people in the winter their allergies will be something else. That's going to be you. Okay, but people, okay, tend to forget. Tend to forget that allergies or allergenic pollen, or that we call allergenic pollen, pollen basically is actually, simply to mention, actually basically when spring, summer, okay, a problem, while we find, while many respiratory allergies, while many respiratory allergies, okay, persist in the fall and winter. In fall and winter. Okay. Now those people, of course, when they have it in winter and fall, of course, in this case, they find basically there is other source for this allergy. So scientists had to look elsewhere. So to mention this point, that scientists, okay, scientists had to look elsewhere, of course, for the answer, for other less seasonal, for other less okay, seasonal agents, okay, and found them in the form of fungal spore, and found them in form, okay, of fungal spores. And usually for fungal spores, usually we'll do done it by a skin test, okay, to see the reaction. Okay, a skin test proved that called skin test, okay, proved, okay, that such a spore, okay, that such spores can indeed be allergic. Okay, especially if they are in high concentration. Okay, called allergenic. Okay, as I mentioned, about 20% of the population, about 20% of the population we call them is known as is a topic that means hypersensitivity is a topic that means hypersensitivity reaction hypersensitivity reaction such as, for example, such as dermatitis or asthma, such as, dermatitis or asthma, may occur, of course, in part of the body not in contact with the allergens. Not in contact with the allergen. And such people, as a matter of fact, they can also develop this, which is known as wrongly, of course, as hay fever. And these people may react by developing called hay fever or asthma. That means they feel short of breath asthma or asthma. I think I'm going to stop my lecture here because this is very short. It's going to cut me off. I hope, well, of course, if only one lecture, which is going to take it about Tuesday. I will finish just one for you. And also after that, I will, already, I think I mentioned, I made a Dropbox for your essay. So can you mention there? And also, as a matter of fact, I will send you, of course, later on, more information regarding your final exam and so on. Any question for the few minutes left? No? Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye.
Have a good day.
Same for you. Same for everyone.